What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Uprise Postgame show. The Blazers get a much-needed win against the Minnesota Timberwolves, a game they needed to take care of because this Minnesota team has been struggling. And Minnesota struggled again tonight, so this was a very good win for the Portland Trail Blazers. Shout out to Reggie Coase for the beat. Reggie, if you're watching this, let me know if I name dropped you right. I'm from the Couve, so I always say his name as Coos, because it's kind of spelled the same. But I think it's Coase. Got a name drop my guy right for the beat that he provides for us. You guys like that beat, that intro beat? I like that we got some intro beats now. We got some intro beats. I'm going to turn on my backlight just to brighten it up a little bit in here, and then we'll get into this game. Alrighty, what is going on, everybody? This was a very interesting game, to say the least. I thought Minnesota played really, really well, given their talent level, but this would have been an inexcusable loss for the Portland Trail Blazers. And they definitely didn't make it easy on us as fans, but it definitely was an exciting game, especially down the stretch. You can tell that this team at this point, the morale of the Portland Trail Blazers is higher than it's been all season long. You can tell these guys are having fun out there, especially Hassan Whiteside, who had a tremendous game tonight. I'll get into the box score. I'll get into the stats. Drop Eric in the chat. Say Eric in the chat if you want Eric Brandt on this postgame show. If you want Eric Brandt on this postgame show, let me see Eric in the chat. And then if you guys really want him, we'll bring on Eric Brandt. Make him feel special, and let's spam his name in the chat. Give me Eric. All right, we'll get you guys Eric Brandt. Let's see if he answers. Stream might lag just a little bit while I make this call. Alrighty. Oh wow, that was loud. I got the Skype ringtone playing in my headphones and everything. Eric, I'm calling you, bro. Eric or we protest. All right, there we go. I don't hear my audio playing either. All right, what's up, man? What's up, dude?
All right, there we go. Let me plug in my headphones.
Alrighty. Oh, I hear my audio now. There it is. Okay. Eric and his West Coast drawl, says Josh Christensen. Yes, Eric with the West Coast drawl is live on the Uprise postgame show. So this intro's been kind of disjointed, but screw it. This game was kind of disjointed, so a lot of times my intro matches the game. And this game was just kind of all over the place. I felt like Minnesota played really, really well. You had Andrew Wiggins. I'm gonna have to mute you until you stop playing my audio. We gotta get those headphones. But you had Andrew Wiggins killing it tonight. He had a couple threes late, just trying to keep Minnesota in it. He's been phenomenal all season long. He is honestly my candidate for most improved player. He's fixed a lot of his weaknesses. He's gotten better rebounding. He's gotten better defensively. He's scoring the ball much more efficiently. Let me pull up the box score. Aaron Wiggins. Why do I keep saying Aaron Wiggins? There is an Aaron Wiggins who plays for the University of Maryland that I keep mixing him up with. Andrew Wiggins had 33 points and 6 rebounds on 13 for 24 shooting, 4 for 6 from the three-point line. So that was a really, really good performance by Andrew Wiggins. And then former Blazer Shabazz Napier had 18. And I was surprised to see him starting over Jeff Teague. But he kind of showed why, I guess. He had 18, 4 and 4, 7 for 15 shooting. Jeff Teague off the bench had 18 points as well. And Gorgui Dieng, it was 3 for 12 from the field, but 3 for 7 from the three-point line with 12 rebounds. Those 4 guys are really the only guys who did anything for the Minnesota Timberwolves. You look at Robert Covington, who's been a favorite trade target of mine, and I was taking some heat on Twitter because of some of the mistakes that Robert Covington was making. There was that layup late on the fast break where he basically played his way onto Shackton full with that layup, dude. That was that was embarrassing. I don't know what happened. He had nobody around him, nobody trying to chase him down or anything, and lost the ball. I feel like that kind of put the dagger in the Minnesota Timberwolves. Usually you talk about a dagger 3-point shot or a dagger play by the team that ends up winning. The losing team had a dagger play on themselves when Robert Covington lost that ball out of bounds. That was bad, man. He really struggled tonight, but I still like him as a trade target. I still think he'd do better here. I still think he would help us out a lot. But he was 1 for 6, 1 for 5 from the 3-point line. But Minnesota kept it close. They shot well from the 3-point line. If they didn't shoot as well, if they shot how they normally do from the 3-point line, I think this would have been a 10, 15-point win. But they kept it close by knocking down threes. They're 15 for 37, 40% from three. On the Blazers side of things, you had Dame with 29 points, 10 for 25 shooting. He wasn't efficient, only 40%, only 25% from the 3-point line. CJ McCollum wasn't efficient either. He had 26 points, but he was 8 for 23. He was 5 for 10 from 3, but struggled inside the arc. So you can point to that as to the reason why this game wasn't more of a blowout. I thought Dame and CJ settled a bit more for outside shots when they had been attacking the rim in previous games and had been working for them. But the fact that the Blazers still scored 113 points with CJ and Dame being as inefficient as they were is pretty promising. This was Kent Bazemore's best game in a Blazer uniform, and it came at the time they needed him the most with Carmelo Anthony out. Bazemore dropping 19 points. He had 2 blocks. He's a great shot blocking wing. He stepped up big, and then Whiteside with 16 points, 22 rebounds, and 7 blocks. Scott Labissiere, good game off the bench, 11 points, 5 for 9 from the field. The bench didn't really do anything outside of that. The bench has really struggled. We do need an upgrade there, but overall, that was an okay game, I feel like. Again, they needed to win, though. It would have been very frustrating had they lost this game. But now they won 4 in a row, and they're 3-0 on this homestand with a very winnable game on Monday coming against the New Orleans Pelicans. So, Eric, I'll give you the mic. What's up? I'll give you free reign to talk about whatever you want to talk about. I want to hear your thoughts on this game. Positive, negative, or in between. Mm-hmm. I had you muted still. All right. What's up? What's
okay.
up?
Do I need to repeat all
Now
that?
you're live. Yeah. Well, I heard my audio in the background, and that always drives me crazy, so I muted it.
Yeah.
But anyway, you had your kid in the back. Eric just had his kid ask if he could be on the podcast, but nobody heard that. Free Eric. There you go. There's Eric. Yeah.
Anyways, when I saw Carmelo was out,
Yeah.
I just wanted him to get the W. I didn't really care how ugly it was. So it's nice to see that we're winning some of these games instead of like losing to the Cavs and crappy teams. So it gives me a little confidence that we're turning a page and that we're not going to lose games we shouldn't anymore. And Whiteside had a monster game. Like you said, Dame and CJ didn't play particularly well. They both were really inefficient, but Bazemore had the best game of his season, and it was really good to see. But for the people ripping on Covington and saying that they want Bazemore over Covington, like, sure, 1 game sample size, Bazemore was way better than Covington tonight, but
if this
overall,
is how both those guys normally played, then yes, I would want Bazemore over Covington. Thing is, this was maybe Covington's worst game of his of the year, and this was Bazemore's best game of the year. So let's not overreact to 1 game. Blazer fans do have a tendency to do that. I mean, fans of all fan bases do have the tendency to do that, but I saw a lot of Blazer fans in my mentions on Twitter saying, I don't want Covington after this. I think a couple of them were jokes right after that lay-in, like, wow, because that lay-in was embarrassing, but
yeah, that was bad, but
But yeah, let's just
I mean,
pump
it
the brakes on
happens.
this. And that's the thing too is Covington is only making like 10 million a year for the
Well,
next 3 years. Um,
and the other thing is too. I mean, there's a reason why Dame and CJ both had bad shooting nights. I mean, he was guarding one of those
mm-hmm,
guys most of the time. So,
mm-hmm.
like, um, yeah, it's the only thing that I was really frustrated about was how many times we lost a guy on a wide open 3-point shot or not picking up ball, and a guy just getting like Shabazz just walking into a 3-pointer
Yeah.
because no one picks him up dribbling, especially after they just made one. We
Mm-hmm.
got
Yeah.
lucky a couple times.
He airballed that one.
In the second,
He
yeah,
airballed
in the
that one. He got
second
wide
half,
open. That was bad.
yeah, in the second half, like a couple plays into the second half, uh, we got all mixed up on defense and no one guarded Wiggins and he got a wide open three. And then the next play down, he was wide open in the corner again and he missed it. But like that just this driving me crazy this season how that's just like mental and like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's just like those type of errors shouldn't happen in the NBA. Like
Yeah.
it should happen in like a rec league or like playing at 24-hour fitness and stuff like that. But like yeah, it's just frustrating that this keeps happening. But we got the win. I'm happy. 4 in a row. We're inching towards 500. Just take care of the Pelicans, and think this season that was looking pretty crappy is starting to turn around.
Yeah. I mean, I just think back to when we beat Atlanta at home after a long losing streak and we needed overtime to beat them. And it was like, we finally won a
Yeah,
game. And I remember we were rejoicing on the post game show, like, wow, they didn't have John Collins and they're horrible and we need overtime to beat them, but thank God we won a game. That feeling's kind of gone now. I don't. Now it's like we win a game like this and it's like, okay, yeah, we should have won this game and we made some mistakes and didn't shoot too well. It's good that we won, but it's not like that same ecstatic feeling I'd get after any win earlier this season when we literally couldn't buy a game. And part of that is because we're playing a lot better. Now we've won 9 of 13 games. We're 9 because we were 5-12. Now we're 14-16. Yeah, that's 9 of 13 games. So we're 9-4 over our last 13. That's what we
yeah,
needed to do over this stretch of games. And there's a couple of those losses in there that we probably shouldn't have had. One to OKC at home, you know what I mean? We still dropped games. But this was that easy stretch of
yeah,
schedule where we were looking at earlier in the season like, okay, if we can figure some things out, if we can play a little bit better, if this Melo addition works out, then given the stretch we have in the middle of December, maybe we can be at 500 going into the new year. Now we have 4 games left of this month. We're 14-16. So if we go 3-1, we're at 500. This Pelicans game would be a huge letdown to lose on Monday. So we're kind of in the position where
yeah.
like, okay, we need to win. We need to win our 5th in a row. Like we needed to take care of this homestand. The thing is, we're actually doing it. Where earlier this season, we'd play teams like this and we'd lose to them. So it's
And
just a different vibe
to,
around the team right now.
yeah, yeah. To piggyback off that, like going into this game, there's no way I would have thought. Well, let me rephrase that. So like earlier in the year when we were struggling, you could tell the team was pressing and trying really hard to not lose the games, right?
Mm-hmm.
But these last few games, it's been like, all right, we're back, we got this. Like, not necessarily that translates to playing well, but you can tell the body language is so much different than it was just a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed like these guys were having fun down the stretch there, especially Hassan. I love the emotion that Hassan plays with. You know, sometimes it'll lead to him, like, thinking he got fouled and then not hustling back on D, and that can be frustrating, but a lot of times, like, he uses it as a bit of a spark. Like, emotional guys like Hassan Whiteside, you kind of just got to let him be himself, because if he's allowed to be himself, he'll
Yeah.
provide you with nights like tonight where he had, 14 or 16 points, 22 rebounds, and 7 blocks. That's insane. And they were saying no Blazer has ever posted a stat line like that with at least 14 points, 22 rebounds, and 7 blocks. And it was funny because True Blazer fan is doing the stat line contest. They're giving away he's giving away a $25 Stumptown gift card for anybody who could guess Melo's stat line correctly. Well, since Melo was out tonight, he switched it over to Hassan. And, I guessed like 15, 16 in 3 or something like that. But it was funny. He switched that contest over to Hassan Whiteside, and then Hassan Whiteside posted a stat line that nobody's posted before. It was like, guess points, rebounds, and blocks correctly. And then Hassan goes out and drops just this insane stat line with 14, 22, and 7. So, yeah, good luck getting that right. Melo needs to come back because people are close on Melo, but nobody's going to get close if Hassan's doing that.
It would have been funny if he forgot to change it and the first person who guessed 0-0-0 for Melo got it.
Yeah. Yeah, for real.
Because they would have been right.
Yeah, exactly. 0-0-0. Yeah, it was nice to see Melo smiling over there on the bench, like looking happy for Gary Trent Jr. You know what I mean? Gary Trent Jr. came in and hit 2 big free throws. You know what I like about Gary Trent Jr.? It's kind of sidetracking here because he didn't really play a big part in the game tonight, but that dude has like a swagger and a confidence about him that I like.
Yeah.
I haven't been super high on Gary Trent Jr., but I'm starting to like what I see from him a little bit more. Okay, because he's doing a better job not chucking a bunch of shots. He's doing a better job taking shots within the offense, which was my biggest complaint about him, especially in Summer League, where I wanted to see him kind of work with Simons so they could play off each other. And Simons got hot in Summer League, and Gary Trent Jr. was still shooting more than him, chucking some bad shots. But this year, like, when he's gotten in the game, Gary Trent Jr. has been a part of the offense, and I've liked that. But then also he's crashing boards hard. He went in there and mixed it up for a rebound. He might be our best wing rebounder, our best perimeter rebounder in terms of point guard, shooting guard, small forward. He gets in there and he battles. And I love to see that because this team doesn't have enough of these perimeter guys going inside and battling for rebounds. But then his swagger and confidence, man, I just had a feeling like he's going to knock down both these free throws. Just like the expression on his face. I think he looked at Dame and told him I got you or something like that. Like, he just has a swagger and a confidence about him that I really like out of a young player who hasn't really played before. And maybe that's growing up around an NBA locker room, his father playing in the NBA, that type of thing. It probably stems in part from that, but I like that. I like I'm starting to become higher and higher on Gary Trent Jr. He needs to knock down more shots. His shot still isn't consistent enough, but he's shooting around 39% from the three-point line. A lot of them completely wide open, which is fine. I wanted him to be more of a part of the offense instead of freelancing out of the offense trying to hunt his own shot. But I don't know, man. I like Gary Trent Jr., and I like that they subbed him in cold. He got the ball and went to the free throw line with the confidence that he was going to knock down too. So that was good to see.
It's kind of frustrating his injury a couple weeks ago because I felt like he was really coming into his own. Not like it didn't really show that much, but I felt like every time he entered the game, he was feeling more and more like he was belonging. And then he got hurt, and then he took a few games where he hasn't really been the same since he came back from the injury. But I hope tonight, making those free throws gives him some confidence to get back in there. And I hope, especially with all these injuries, I mean, we need him to play. He should be the backup, small forward right now or shooting guard. Yeah. We don't really have any other options. I don't know if was Hazonia out tonight or did he just not play?
He had a sore back, so I think he was out. But with little back, he didn't necessarily have to play. So I'm not sure. I would love. Go ahead.
I'm just glad if he was available to play. I'm glad he didn't play.
Yeah, for real.
Even though we were shorthanded, super shorthanded.
Yeah. I mean, I would love to get Tolliver out of the lineup still, even though Tolliver hasn't been as bad as he was earlier this season. Tonight, Tolliver was bad. The past couple of games, he was okay. Okay for Anthony Tolliver standards. But tonight, Tolliver,
dude, the guy had 2 offensive fouls on 3-point shots. Yeah, so how does that happen?
Yeah, and they were different.
The first one
fouls.
is BS, but
yeah. He thought he slapped. The ref thought he slapped Covington or whatever on the closeout. But the second one, he kicked his leg out. and there was still 10 on the shot clock. He was deep, contested, like almost blocked, like twisting his body. It's like, why are you shooting that shot? I didn't understand that. It's like, why are you shooting this shot, man? He shoots some questionable threes. For a guy that has not been shooting the three ball well this year, whose role is to come in there and just try and like not screw up, he shoots some threes where it just makes me scratch my head. Like, why are you shooting that shot? That one, he got that second offensive foul. That was my reaction to that. But I just want Nasir Little and Carmelo Anthony back at the same time, because I like what I see out of Nasir Little. I do want him to drive with more confidence. He had that play where he drove in transition and then ended up like kicking it back out.
Behind the back.
Yeah, he didn't need to make that behind the back move. I just wish he'd get full speed and just try and go dunk on somebody. I feel like once he gets that attitude, once he gets that confidence, dude's going to be a major threat in transition. He just tried to get a little too fancy with it when I feel like he didn't need to. He just needed to go straight ahead, use his athleticism, use his strength, use his speed to just try and attack the rim relentlessly. And I feel like he's going to make...
On that one, it was like 1-on-3 on that one.
Yeah, but he had a lane to the rim. You know what I mean? Like, he might have gotten blocked, but, like, that's the thing. If you're attacking the rim like that in transition, you end up getting blocked at the rim. Like, I'm fine with that. You know what I mean? You're putting the pressure on the defense. There's a decent chance you end up getting to the line. A guy like that can put one over on somebody, can throw that down with guys around him. So don't be finesse about it. Just go and attack the rim if you're Nasir Little. But he had a really nice finish on that post move. That was kind of a pro move. Put his body into the defender, spun around, finished with the inside hand, exploded up and finished over the guy. That's the thing, having a guy like that is I feel like Nasir Little is skilled enough down low that he can punish switches. I know he's only 6'5" without shoes, but he has a super long wingspan, can jump really high. So I'm really looking forward to getting Nasir Little back, getting him back in the rotation. I feel like he's ready to like kind of take a little bit of the next step. You know, he's not going to be like a scorer or anything, but I feel like he just looks more and more comfortable out there on the court, which is really nice to see. And I'm excited to see how he develops for the rest of the season. I'm excited to get Melo back, because Melo's been playing solid, and then get Little off the bench and not have to deal with his own yet or Tolliver. And then at this point, I think Trent deserves the backup small forward minutes behind Bazemore over Hazonia.
Yeah, it'd be nice to pick up another small forward so Bazemore could run more with the second unit too.
But I mean,
you have Simons, Trent, and Scal as our second unit. I just like 1 through 3.
Yeah, I just look at like a Glenn Robinson III, which is one of the targets that I like. And if Gary Trent could just get confidence with his 3-point shot and just start knocking it down like he supposedly can, I'm not sure how much better Glenn Robinson III is than Gary Trent, because he's pretty much mainly just a 3-point shooter, doesn't really defend all that well, doesn't really do much but shoot threes. He can attack inside a little bit, but if Gary Trent Jr. could just start hitting threes, they're kind of the same size, 6'6" in shoes. I mean, like, he could be a poor man's Glenn Robinson III. Like, he could be serviceable at that small forward position. I just feel like Gary Trent Jr. just needs to knock down more shots. He's struggling inside the arc, but really, like, he's a 3-point shooter at small forward. It would help our bench out if we could just start hitting some of those shots. Like, if we're not going to make a trade soon, which you've been campaigning for, I've been campaigning for, then I think we need to play Gary Trent Jr. because he provides the most upside in terms of shot making, more so than a Hazonia, more so than a Tolliver or anybody like that. So we need him to start knocking down shots, because right now on that bench we don't really have much of that.
Yeah, and on his 2-point shots, I feel like he's used to like drawing contact when he shoots. So he's always like looking for contact instead of just focusing on the shot itself. So if he can clean that up a little bit. In the NBA, you want to try. I mean, it's good if you have a strong body and you can absorb contact and shoot through that. But you don't want to like hunt it out if you're open, and you don't need to, you know.
Well,
I feel like sometimes he stops and lets his guy like come back to him before he shoots.
Yeah, one of the biggest concerns I had about him when we drafted him, with him coming into the league, is he's not like super quick, so he's not really going to blow by anybody consistently from the perimeter. A lot of the times when he drove in college, and even the G League, he had big G League games because of this. He would just try and bully people and like use his strength against guys. That doesn't really translate to the NBA because guys are bigger, longer, stronger. So he's not really able to score in the same way inside the arc. You know, he can still maybe get some of these like little sidestep, mid-range jumpers, that type of thing. But when in terms of attacking, he has to become a little craftier, a little bit more finesse even, because he's not going to be able to bully guys. He's not going to be able to like score through physicality in the same way that he is at lower levels. So I think that's really the next step in Gary Trent Jr.'s game, is to knock down more threes or like on a higher volume of threes, because he's like doing a lot better job in his shot selection. I like that, but I want to see him get to the point where if he has space, he's launching and hitting at a efficient rate. You know, I think that's kind of the next step. You know, he was shooting with any space he got before and wasn't connecting, so he kind of took a step back, fixed his shot selection. Now I want to see him get honestly a little bit more aggressive and knock down shots. I think that's kind of the next step, and then learn how to finish inside at the NBA level. I think he can be a decent player for us once he's able to do that. Hopefully he's able to kind of figure that out as the season goes along, because right now it doesn't seem like we're going to make a trade. You know, you never know, but it seems like we're going to wait until the trade deadline. So we need somebody to step up in that backup small forward role, and I think Gary Trent Jr. has a chance to possibly be good enough to hold us over to the trade deadline.
So, are you saying you would no longer put him into trades?
I'd throw him in. I'd throw him in because we have 3 blue chip prospects in my opinion. You got Simons, Little, Collins. I don't think Gary Trent Jr. is the same level of prospect. Now I'm not. I don't want to just throw him in just like for the hell of it. Like, oh, I don't care. Let's toss him in. Like,
right.
I'm only throwing him in if the other team values him as a prospect, like as much as we do. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of these trades, I'm looking at it. A lot of teams want a prospect back if they're trying to rebuild. Gary Trent Jr. was a highly ranked high school player. You know, maybe that's a guy that teams value as kind of a project player going forward. So he could be that prospect that we can include in trades that help make trades happen that isn't like one of our top 3 blue chip prospects like a Simons, Little, or Collins. But I'm not sure how Olshey values him. It'll be interesting to see if he does get moved.
What's funny is though he's only a few months older than Simons, he was thought of as like ready to play in the NBA, not a prospect, you know?
Yep. So in the chat, what's going on, chat? I see you guys are debating Nurkic and Whiteside. A lot recently.
Yep.
Recently, chat has been like having their own debates, which is funny because we'll be talking about one thing and then chat's talking about something completely different. So we're gonna let's hop in onto this. So I didn't answer a question for the mailbag, which I'm releasing tomorrow because there's no content tomorrow other than that, because there's no game. Finally got around to recording it and editing it. Well, I mean, I recorded it once, then had to re-record it, which sucked, so that put me behind. But one of the questions that I didn't answer, because I know this is a hot topic on post-game shows, I figured I'd end up answering it on a live stream, was somebody asking me what I thought, like, who I thought was better on offense and defense, Hassan or Nurkic. I see a lot of people talking about Hassan being better than Nurkic, but I'm not gonna say that. Hassan Whiteside is playing better than he ever has in his entire career, which is kind of crazy because when he came onto the scene in Miami, like, he was so hyped up and like, wow, this dude's amazing. He's playing better than that guy. Let me pull up his stats, which are going to be helped even more after this game. But he's setting a career high in multiple areas. Hassan Whiteside is setting a career high in terms of scoring efficiency. Before tonight's game, he had a 64% true shooting percentage, career high. He's setting a career high in scoring rate. Almost a career high in scoring rate. It was at 20 points per 36 minutes. Now he's at 19.6, but that's in line with his career high, which is 19.9. He's setting a career high in assist percentage. He's setting... let me see here. He's setting a career high in defensive box plus minus by far. with a 3.1. He had another year of 2.5. His next closest year was last year at 0.8. So that's for all the people that like advanced stats. You just look at his stat line. He's having probably his best season of his career. And the thing is, it's funny how the tune has changed around this guy in the past 2 weeks. Because 2 weeks ago, people were saying Hassan Whiteside was a problem. People were saying he was lazy. People were saying he needs to go. And now all of a sudden, we're having this debate on who's better, Whiteside or Nurkic. Sorry, Eric's got a ton of background noise right now. Let me see here. Sorry, I just lost my train of thought. No, Hassan Whiteside's having a career year. The thing is, Nurkic last year, I feel like that was a stepping stone. I feel like if he didn't get hurt this year, Nurkic would be even better than last year. I feel like this is the best Hassan Whiteside is going to get. So in terms of who's the better overall player, I still think Nurkic is the better overall player. Mainly just for what he can do for our offense. I know, like, he's not as efficient as Whiteside's been. They kind of score at the same rate, but Whiteside's been more efficient this year than Yusuf Nurkic was last year. But Nurkic's passing opens up a lot of things, and part of that is due to Terry Stotts. Nurkic has, how do I put this? Nurkic has far more of an impact on our ball movement than he should. We should be able to move the ball without having an elite passing center, but for whatever reason in Terry Stotts' offense, he needs an elite passing center in order to spark good ball movement. Even in games like tonight, we didn't have good ball movement tonight. You know what I mean? Like, we were fine. You know, our offense wasn't as stagnant as it was earlier in the season, so we were fine. It didn't look bad. You know, we missed some shots, but Nurkic helps our ball movement a ton. His passing is needed in a Terry Stotts offense. Maybe for a different team, Hassan Whiteside might be better than Nurkic, but I'm just talking about for this team, Nurkic is the better player. Also, Nurkic is on a really good contract. And I think Nurkic was going to build upon what he did last year. We'll see how Nurkic is when he comes back. Maybe Whiteside is better than Nurkic is after he returns. I don't know. But I still am not going to sit here and say Hassan Whiteside is any better than Yusuf Nurkic. I still think Nurkic might be a better defender. You know, Whiteside's one of those guys that's just like flashy with his defense because he gets a lot of blocks. Nurkic doesn't get as many blocks, but he does just as good of a job of deterring shots into missing, and a lot of times misses. A lot of times when you force the other team to miss, it might be better than a block because blocks have a higher chance of going back to the other team or going out of bounds and going to the other team. So if you can make a guy miss and then corral the rebound, that's honestly better than the average block. But it doesn't get the hype or the love that blocks do, if that makes sense. So Nurkic isn't as flashy, isn't as noticeable of a defender as Whiteside is because Whiteside has those highlight plays. But I think what Nurkic does is what Nurkic does defensively is underrated, a little bit undervalued, and it's like, well, it's more subtle, but it's just as important.
Am I unmuted now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I just heard like wrapping paper being thrown around or something.
My son is very eager to try and get on this podcast for some reason. But he doesn't even realize that it's not video on my end. But anyways, he was eating a bag of chips right next to me.
Oh my goodness, yeah, I had to mute that because I completely lost my train of thought. I had you muted, so they didn't hear what was going on, but then I completely zoned out and forgot what I was saying.
Anyways, so we talked about this the other day, how Nurk does a better job of boxing out instead of just going after the rebound. And that leads to not only him, he doesn't always get the rebound. So, like, when you're looking at just comparing rebounding numbers, Whiteside chases rebounds. I'm not saying they're not empty rebounds. That's not what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
but
empty
like
rebounds makes no sense.
He goes after the rebounds instead of making sure his guy doesn't get the rebound, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Whereas Nurkic first makes sure his guy doesn't get the rebound and then gets the rebound if it comes to him. But if another teammate like Aminu got the rebound or whatever, like, he wouldn't care. He just cares that we got the ball, you know. Whiteside wants the rebound himself, which is fine. It's not a bad thing. But like, it's hard to compare rebounding numbers, and despite that, they're still fairly close in rebounding.
And this team was a lot better rebounding team with Nurkic in the lineup than Whiteside. We've had struggle rebounding this season. Now, part of that could be who's around the center position. We have Bazemore and Melo instead of Harkless and Aminu, so that probably hurts a little bit. And then our bench isn't as good of a rebounding bench as they were before, and we don't have Collins. But I don't know. So it's hard to base it off of how well a team rebounds because other players matter. But I don't think Whiteside helps our rebounding any more than Nurkic does, because we were an elite rebounding team with Nurkic, and Nurkic is the type of guy who boxes out really well. Whiteside doesn't box out much. Nurkic boxes out almost every time the ball goes up. So if you spend the time to box out, that clears space, and somebody else might swoop in for the rebound. Somebody else on your team, you're not going to get the rebound for that, but that box out might have helped your team get the rebound, whereas Whiteside just attacks the ball.
And it's it's very clear to me that as this team has gotten better this year, Whiteside's getting less and less out of position on defense.
Yeah.
And that's been huge. But I will say that I brought this up the other day too, that Nurk hardly ever gets caught out of position on defense, whereas Whiteside is out of position often. And it's not, like I said, necessarily, I'm not saying Whiteside's terrible and Nurk is good, but just the little nuances of Nurk always being in the right spot, always knowing when to help, how far to help, how he gets the guards to get through picks, whether it's through communication or leaving just the amount of right space or whatever. He just has an uncanny ability of not getting the guard switched onto him where he's getting stuck on an island. It's going to happen sometimes, but Whiteside doesn't quite have that same ability. Like I said, it's gotten a lot better this year. I think he's starting to understand a little bit better what Stotts wants him to do on defense. But I would take a guy like Nurkic, who's a little more cerebral with his defensive mindset, versus a guy who just goes after blocks and stuff. Once again, not saying that's a bad thing. I just prefer a guy who is always in the right position versus a guy who is there sometimes and puts up good stats.
Yep. I just honestly, I don't even understand why people want to have this debate. Let's just enjoy what Whiteside is doing for us right now, and then once Nurkic comes back, we trade Whiteside and get pieces out of other positions. These guys are probably not going to play together at the same time hardly at all. I expect us to trade Whiteside, so it's not even a matter of Whiteside versus Nurk. It makes sense to trade Whiteside even if he's better than Nurk.
Let me say this though: the fact that we're having this debate is good, and second of all, anyone who says on Twitter or whatever that we're missing 3 of our 5 starters and that's why we're losing, you guys need to go in on that, because Whiteside, if we're having a debate whether he's better than Nurkic, we are not missing 3 of our 5 starters. We have an adequate replacement at center, more than adequate, and so that's just a freaking excuse, and I'm sick of it. I'm sick of seeing it. I see it every single day. Well, we're missing 3 of our... Oh, Minnesota's missing Karl Anthony Towns, but we're missing 3 of our 5 starters.
We have a starting center. We have a starting center. Put up 14,
we knew for months.
7. Yep, and we got a replacement for him. We got a replacement that some people think might be better and might deserve to be the starter over the guy we had before. I hate that narrative too, man. I go in on that too. We're missing 2 starters right now. But honestly, without Collins getting hurt, we don't sign Melo. And I think Melo has helped us. You look at his efficiencies, hasn't really been efficient, but defensively, I think he's actually been average to maybe even a little above average. I think this might be the best defense Melo has played since his prime, since he was 26, 27, 28 years old. I think Melo's been solid on that end. Rebounding, he's been solid. And then he spaces the floor. He's shooting 41%. Isn't that what we wanted out of a power forward? Isn't that what these people complained about Aminu for, because Aminu couldn't hit threes? Well, now we got a guy shooting 41%. Yes, it hurts missing Collins, but without Collins, we don't get Melo. which I think is an adequate replacement as well. So that's the thing, is that whole narrative, we're missing 3 of 5 starters, that's just so devoid of context. I can't stand it, because without Nurkic getting hurt, we don't get Whiteside. We still have pretty much the same production out of the center position as we do right now. Without Collins getting hurt, we don't go out and sign Melo. So it's like, yeah, we're missing, Nurkic and Collins, but it led to Melo and Whiteside, which that's still a good front court, in my opinion. Like, I don't know. So I just hate how people avoid context like that.
And I know Melo's 35, but he's, 18th in all-time scoring? Like,
He's respected.
Yeah.
I mean, people guard him, dude. People pay so much attention to him defensively, even when he's struggling, just because it is Carmelo Anthony, that it opens up things for other players. I don't think it was a coincidence that Dame and CJ both had inefficient nights on the night that Melo was out due to injury, because now you got Anthony Tolliver in there. He's not respected anywhere near the same amount as Carmelo Anthony is. So that's the thing. Yeah, I just hate that narrative, dude. It bothers me.
And if Melo plays, Covington probably guards him a little bit tonight, which takes him off of Dame and CJ, so they get a little more space, and it just helps everyone out. It's Whiteside had an incredible game, though, man. That's
I just wanted to add one more thing onto that narrative real quick. The whole missing 3 of 5 starters. We were struggling when we had Rodney Hood and Carmelo Anthony. Like, we had a 3-game stretch against Chicago. We see Chicago where we played well, but like there was. I don't remember exactly, but even when we had Rodney Hood, we were still struggling. He was super efficient and helpful this season, but he didn't shoot a ton. And his defense was a little bit of a disappointment. He was literally only providing scoring. Efficient scoring, it was helpful for sure, but it wasn't like this dude was some like huge piece for us. We lost a starter by losing him, but I don't want to downplay Rodney Hood, but dude was not like some like piece we couldn't afford to lose, like, in our season's done by losing him. You know what I mean? Then the other 2 positions, we got very, very solid replacements. So I'm tired of the context. Like, I got into it tonight. I think Holy Backboard was tweeting me saying we're missing 4 key players or whatever. But it's like they're missing Karl Anthony Towns. They were trotting out just a mediocre lineup outside of Andrew Wiggins Outside of Andrew Wiggins, the only other above-average NBA player they had playing tonight was Robert Covington, who was horrible. Who was absolutely horrible. So, like, Robert Covington was a below-average NBA player tonight, even with his good defense. Like, he was horrible offensively. Maybe he was an average NBA player, but you're playing against a team with Andrew Wiggins and average to below-average NBA players, and you're trotting out Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum, and Hassan Whiteside, and Kent Bazemore has the best game of his season. Like, that would have been an inexcusable game to lose. So screw the narrative about injuries. It was good that we won this game. But, like, if we lost this game, I'm like, don't sit here and make excuses. They're missing their best player and didn't have the time to go, because that's the thing I heard too, is Karl Anthony Towns was out, and I pointed that out. Oh, well, Nurkic is out. It's like, okay, well, we have the time to go out and get Hassan Whiteside. Look what he's doing. Karl Anthony Towns is out. They don't have, he's out in the middle of the season, not the off season, so they're not going out and getting a replacement for him. So they're just having to make do with that, and that's their best player. That dude has been phenomenal all season long. So with Karl Anthony Towns, I still think we have the more talented team, but if they had Karl Anthony Towns, I think we end up losing this game tonight.
And I kind of agree with Josh Christensen. That's the area where Hood hurts us the most, is having Bazemore having to start and not having a bench right now, or not having 4 guys where you could rotate 2 out of the 4 always in the game at all times, so you never really had that scoring lull. But yeah, that's really where it hurts, is our bench is struggling and we don't have a guy like Hood we can just stick with them to get buckets.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. So anyway, we got, as I said, 4 games left of 2019. You got New Orleans on Monday. New Orleans has lost 13 of 14 or 14 of 15 or something like that. That is a game that we cannot afford to lose. And it's funny, if we lose that game, people will just say injuries. Like,
Mm-hmm.
even though they might be the worst team in the NBA right now. They just lost to the Warriors, who we just beat at home. This New Orleans team, that's a game that we must win. That's a game I expect us to win. But I think it's important that we don't kill our momentum by losing to what might be the worst team in the NBA and losing to that team at home. I think it's crucial that we continue to build on this momentum, because let's just win this game Monday. That'll be 5 wins in a row. We'll be 15-16, and then we'll go on the road with momentum, with confidence. We'll go play a Utah team, which I think is the main team we're chasing, because you get that 6th seed, you're going up against Dallas or Houston or whoever. I think that is a series that we could win. Like going up against either of the LA teams would be really tough. I feel like 6th is much, much better than 7th. Utah's in 6th place right now. They've been kind of meh to start the season. They don't have Mike Conley right now. He's struggled, but Mike Conley's still an important part of their team. So we win this New Orleans game to get to 15-16, and then we go to Utah with the chance to be a winning team for the second time this year, because we've only beat one winning team all season long. That's all the way back in October. Yeah. We build this momentum by winning Monday, and then we go to Utah with a chance to break even, to get to 500, to beat the team that we're chasing for that 6th seed. I think that would be very, very very, very good, because right now we're only 4.5 games back at Utah. We win Monday. I'm not sure if Utah plays again, but we could be 3.5 games back, and then we beat Utah. We'd be 2.5 games back. You know what I mean? Like 2.5 games back out of 6th, 500, beating Utah. Like, that's the thing. That would be such a good position compared to when we were sitting at 5-12, looking at that 5-12 record and how ugly it is. This is basically what we wanted, the position we wanted to be in after we started 5-12. This is the position we wanted to be in. So let's keep our momentum. Let's not blow it Monday by losing to the Pelicans. Cure our momentum going into an important game in Utah. Let's go into Utah trying to get to 500 and try to knock off that team. That's what I want.
Man, if we beat Utah, if we can beat the Pelicans and then go into Utah and win in Utah and get to 500 a day after Christmas, I'd be stoked right now. Yeah, we'd have a lot of momentum. Then we got 2 home games against the Lakers and Suns, and then we go on a long road trip. But a lot of those teams are missing guys right now. So the Knicks suck. The Wizards are missing Thomas Bryant.
And they suck the Heat, anyways,
which will be tough. Yeah. The Raptors are missing a ton of guys. Who knows who'll be back by that game. And then we got the Timberwolves again. So that's a road trip we could, if we go like 3-2 or something on, and we split those home games after beating the Jazz, then we're game over 500 after like another tough stretch of our season.
Well, here, let's get predictions for the next 9 games. Ends with that road trip, all right? So I'm going to read off these games. I mean, you just did, but I just want to read it off from the start. I want chat to predict our record. Right now, we're 14-16. I want you guys to predict our record after this 9-game stretch. Eric, I want to hear what you think our record will be as well. So we got the Pelicans at home, the Jazz on the road without Mike Conley, the Lakers at home, and then the Suns at home. And then we go on the road to play the Knicks, the Wizards without Thomas Bryant, go on the road to play the Heat. Then we play the Raptors on the road. They're probably without Pascal Siakam and maybe Marc Gasol as well. They're very banged up. And then we play the Timberwolves on the road as well. So that's the next 9 games. I want to hear what you guys think our record will be over those 9 games, and then what our record will be after that. I think over those 9 games, I think we go 5-4. I think 2-2 over the next 4 games is pretty realistic. We got the Jazz on the road and the Suns at home. That's not an easy team. And the Lakers at home, but 2-2 would be okay, I guess. And then I think
I'm laughing at the people saying 9-0.
9-0. I want to hear your guys' honest, realistic prediction. Okay.
We got some king speeds in here.
I think we go 5-4 and end up being 19-20.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
I feel like that's realistic. I think it's very possible we could go 7-2, but it's also possible we could go 4-5-3. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like 5-4. is
and that
pretty realistic because you got six of those games on the road.
and I
So,
hope hopefully that's the floor,
yeah,
19
that's
to
what I'm hoping.
20.
Yep.
And then any of those, like if we beat the Heat or the Lakers or something or the Jazz, like that gives us a game we maybe shouldn't have won, and then maybe we're a game above 500 or at that time. I'd be very happy with that.
I feel like yeah.
Considering we're 5-12 at one point.
I feel like we need to go 6-3 over this 9-game stretch. Like I'm expecting 5-4. I feel like we need to go 6-3, and end up being 20-19. Because after that, the schedule is not easy. You got the Bucks at home. You got the Hornets at home, which isn't the pushover that many people thought, but that's a game we should win. The Rockets on the road, the Mavericks on the road, and then there's a couple easy games. You got the Thunder on the road, the Warriors at home, but then you got the Mavericks at home, the Pacers at home, the Rockets at home, the Lakers on the road. January is not an easy month, especially after that road trip. So January, I think, is going to be what decides the season, because I think that how we do in January will determine what happens at the trade deadline, which will determine the rest of the season. It's a very tough schedule, but we're slowly starting to figure it out. We're just going to have to get to the point where we need to beat winning teams. We need to play like a winning team. We need to play like a playoff team, and we need to beat winning teams. I think that before that tough stretch in January, we do need to make a trade and upgrade our bench, because I don't think this bench is going to get it done going against winning teams. But yeah, we're still like not out of the thick of things, but considering where we were at 5-12, winning 9-13, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Yep. I'm happy right now. Yeah. Could be worse, right?
It could be a lot worse. I mean, the start of the season was so rough, man. Just like with these post-game streams, loss after loss after loss, and just like ranting about the same stuff, and now we're doing what we should, and we're beating the teams we should. We're taking care of business. It's definitely a better vibe around the team right now. It's just given how much they struggled, I still feel like this team might be in for a letdown. I'm still kind of nervous going up against bad teams, because I feel like, given some of the games that we've lost earlier in the season, like, oh, this could be a night where they revert back to how they were before this good stretch. But then going against winning teams, like, I just don't know if this. I don't know how competitive this team, the way they're playing lately, would be against winning teams, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, we're what, 1-10 against winning teams or something like that?
Yep.
That's horrible, dude. One win against an above 500 team is not good. That's not good. So, like, we've had our very easy December schedule taking care of business, but I'm still kind of nervous going up against these winning teams, because we're going to have to pick up some of these wins.
That's why the Pelicans game is big, because if we complete a 4-game sweep of this homestand, and even though it was against bad teams, like I said, the vibe when you play those bad teams is like, oh, we're going to win this game, not, oh, gosh, we better win this game,
Yeah.
And that's a huge difference when you're playing, when every little bit helps. But even being 1-10 against the sub 500 team or above 500 teams, if we just would have taken care of business against some of those bad teams that we've lost to, we'd be above 500 right now, and we'd only be a game or two out of like 6th place. And,
I mean, we're 13-6 against losing teams.
Yeah.
And that includes losses to the Warriors, Pelicans, and Cavaliers. So, I mean, that Cavs game we didn't have Whiteside, I think we would have won. That's the thing, is now that we're 14-16, it's like, looking back at some of the games we lost, we've blown opportunities. We should be better than this. That's why I'm not just gonna blame injuries. You look at the debacle against Philadelphia, where we had horrible last second coverage. We'd be at 500 right now if we just took care of that last defensive possession. Butterfly effect though. Maybe we lose more games after that. Maybe that kind of woke us up a little bit, but we struggled after that. I don't know. But if you win that game, if you take care of the Cavaliers, if you take care of the Warriors who weren't playing with Russell or Green or Steph or Clay, and if you take care of OKC at home, like some of these games that we should have won that we ended up losing, like you win those, and the Pelicans on the road, that hurt because it was Carmelo's first game, so things were kind of disjointed. But those 5 games, you take care of those games. We're sitting at 19-12, and we're in sixth, fifth place or something like that. You know what I mean? Like we've lost games we should have won regardless of injuries, which is why I don't want to use those as an excuse, because I still think this roster is good. We're just gonna have to make up ground by beating some winning teams at this point. And I'm hoping that January we're able to go above 500, which is gonna be tough. But coming out of January, if we're above 500, then maybe we make a trade. And after the first week of February, I think we have the easiest schedule in the entire NBA. So January is gonna be very, very crucial.
Yeah, for sure. And that's one of the reasons why I want to make a move now versus waiting to see what happens in January, because that might be too late to save the season at that point.
Yeah.
But to your point, if we would have done better in some of those games, we'd be talking about still having a chance at a home court advantage in the playoffs, because we'd only be a few games out of those positions. Instead, it's hoping we can get up to the 6th seed so we avoid one of the top 2 seeds in the first round.
I mean, we are only 6.5 games out of 3rd place, which I don't know. Looking at the standings, if you look at win-loss, we're 14-16. 3rd place is 19-8, so that's a pretty big difference. But it's only 6.5 games with what we got 52 games left, and we're 6.5 games back. You know what I mean? If we go on a hot stretch and beat a lot of winning teams in January, if we have a really good January, I wouldn't say it's completely out of the picture. That's why I think January is important. We could completely, if we play winning teams like we have all season long, where we've only won 1 out of 11 games, and we could fall out of the playoff picture if we play good against these winning teams. There's still teams that we can compete against, and I think we have the talent to beat. If we can play up to our full potential, then we could be possibly looking at a February trade deadline move that really helps our roster out, and then having a roster good enough to make a run at home court advantage. So it'll be interesting, man. January is do or die time for the Blazers. The thing is, they've set themselves up for January to possibly swing things in a very positive way, given how they've played lately. It's either or. Where if we struggled with this past stretch and we were 11-19, I'd be saying this season's probably done. Even though that's a 3-game difference, these games have been crucial.
Yeah, for sure. And the other thing is, I'm not saying that I'm expecting Nurk to be good, but if he and when he comes back, it's going to provide a huge emotional boost to some of the guys just to have him out there. And that could really be even if he's not ready to play much, it could have a Nurk fever type effect on the rest of the guys, just having him back in the lineup. And then you think about if he is anywhere close to what he was last year, just having another big that is good like that, having, and I can't imagine what that's going to do to this team. So I hope that happens sometime within that stretch of late January, early February.
Yep. There is one more point that I want to get to before, we haven't really tuned in with chat as much as we should have tonight. It's kind of been something that I've been getting into lately. I haven't been checking chat enough, reading along with chat enough. But I do want to make this point, and then we'll just completely tune in with chat, answer some questions from chat, that type of thing. What's up, Snowstorm? But Hassan Whiteside, with the way he's playing, man, I hope there's a team that needs him at the deadline, a contending team, because his value, if somebody needs him, the player, and not him, the expiring contract, I feel like he could fetch a first-round pick, which would be huge for us trying to make a move at the deadline.
You've been on that all year.
Yeah, but I didn't expect Whiteside to be this good. Don't you think he's worth a first-round pick in terms of his production? If a team needs a starting center, a playoff team, I think he's playing so good right now that if a team needs him, I think they would easily give up a first-round pick for him if they're a playoff team. The problem is, as I've said all season long, is the type of playoff teams that would need Hassan Whiteside, Boston Celtics, teams, a team like that, Dallas, they either don't have contracts that they'd be willing to trade to match salary for Hassan Whiteside. That's Boston's case, because they'd either have to give up Marcus Smart and a large combination of other players along with Marcus Smart in order to match Hassan Whiteside's salary, or they'd have to give up Gordon Hayward. They're not going to do either of those things. They have the pick to possibly trade for Hassan Whiteside, but they don't have the contracts to match his salary, so that's not really much of a destination, even though that's a team that would possibly value Hassan Whiteside enough to give up a first-round pick for him. They just don't have the contracts. Dallas doesn't have the picks to trade for Hassan Whiteside. They do have the contracts. You look at Courtney Lee is a $12 million expiring, so you'd start there. I don't know necessarily what else they have, but they do have some medium-level contracts that they could add on to that. That would be a team that might be willing to give up a first-round pick, but they don't have first-round picks. They literally cannot trade a first-round pick. That would be useful for the Portland Trailblazers making trade happen. They could maybe trade a tentative 2025, 2026 first-round pick. But they have a 2023 first-round pick they traded to New York for Porzingis that's protected through 2025, so it makes things really messy, and that's not something that Portland could use in a three-team trade where they send Whiteside to Dallas and then use a pick from Dallas for Whiteside, along with like Courtney Lee's expiring contract, and send him to a team like maybe Detroit. There'd need to be other salary in there, but I'm just looking at this with the way Hassan Whiteside's playing. I wish there was a team out there, a playoff team, that had the expiring contracts that they'd be willing to trade for Hassan Whiteside, alongside a first-round pick that they'd have that they'd be willing to trade for Hassan Whiteside. Because I feel like if there's a team out there we could get expiring contracts and a first-round pick for Whiteside, send that to a team who we want a player from, Detroit or whatever, send those expirings we get for Whiteside to Detroit, and use the pick we got for Whiteside in that Detroit Blake Griffin trade package, if that makes sense. Hopefully I did a good job explaining that. Like, I hope there's a team that ends up wanting to make a move for Whiteside. The thing is, in order for a playoff team to be in that position, I think a starting center somewhere has to get hurt, because I just can't think of a team that would line up that way for Hassan Whiteside and want him and be set to trade for him.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
Knicks aren't a playoff team. They're not going to want Hassan Whiteside. That's the thing. It has to be a playoff team because a rebuilding team isn't going to value him, the player, because they're going to be, they're not going to be making a playoff push. So if any of you guys what were you saying?
He's 30 years old too, so he doesn't really fit a rebuilding. Even though the Knicks are stupid and probably would take him, but whatever.
Houston makes no sense because they have Capella. Keeping Whiteside, I don't think makes sense because I don't think he'll want to be a backup behind Nurkic. I think he's too good to be a backup, and he can't play with Nurkic. Their skill sets don't mesh well enough. So it still makes sense to trade him, especially since in an expiring contract, you get Nurkic back. This team is going to be best if you get Nurkic back and then you trade for help at other positions than center. But,
I'm trying to make a trade. I'm on the trade machine right now.
Doge Gaming, Mavericks would be a good destination if they could easily trade a first-round pick, but they can't. Robbie Stackhouse says, "Yo, Tori, what y'all think about Kent Bazemore lately? He's playing with higher energy on both ends, which I think is really helping us. He's looking solid, 142, 200." Yeah, Bazemore's looking good. We talked about him a little bit earlier. I do like what I've seen about Bazemore. It was his best performance of his tenure here in Portland. His defense was good tonight. He knocked down shots. I like that he's shooting a bit better. His three-point percentage is approaching 35%. Like that he finished a couple layups and hit a couple mid-range jumpers because he's been shooting about 35% from two-point range, which is not good at all. So hopefully he's able to turn this into more good performances like this because we needed this from Bazemore tonight.
So real quick, do you think the Timberwolves would want DeLon Wright?
Maybe. I just don't think. What are you thinking here? What are we crafting up?
Well, I was trying to think because Courtney Lee doesn't really make sense for us unless he was like a buyout guy, later in the season, and we still had a roster spot maybe. But other than that, not really. So I was thinking, Timberwolves are looking for a point guard. I was wondering if maybe he'd be a good fit for them.
I don't think they're good enough in order to trade their first round pick, though.
No, the Timberwolves?
Yeah.
No, I was thinking, so Whiteside to the Mavericks.
Mm-hmm.
Courtney Lee and DeLon Wright to the Timberwolves, and then Jang and Covington to the Blazers. But I was thinking maybe the Mavericks give the Timberwolves like a couple second round picks or something.
Yeah, I don't
Maybe
know
we
how
throw a second round pick,
yeah, I don't.
and then we go ahead.
I don't know if I'd want to help out the Mavericks like that. You know what I mean? Because that could be a team we could end up facing, and we need Nurkic in that series to be effective, and then Whiteside just shut him down. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of the thing with the Mavericks. I guess beggars can't be choosers. That is an interesting trade idea. WTF, main Boston isn't going to trade any of those wings for Whiteside. Romeo isn't going to help us. Romeo Langford isn't going to help us this year, so it needs to be somebody that helps us this year, a pick or something. But they'd also have to trade Marcus Smart or one of their starting wings, which they're not going to do. Anyway, what? I know it cut you off, Eric. What were you saying?
No, I was done. Except for Bryce, if you want some hot Nurk versus Hassan takes. We talked about that earlier, and chat got into it earlier, so he's bringing it back up again.
You know what? I need to do a Pulse episode, and that needs to be one of the Pulse questions. I haven't done a Pulse video since the summer, but that would be interesting to see, just to say who's better, Hassan Whiteside or Nurkic, and have a Hassan Whiteside option, a Nurkic option, or say they're even, because not everything is black and white. That's what Chad Doing can't realize when he asks what's to blame, injuries or coaching, and he doesn't have a both option. So that would be an interesting Pulse question. It'd be very interesting to do a Pulse episode. I'm gonna do that in the next week, I think. Hopefully. Which I've made many empty promises in the past. I'm not promising that I'll do it in the next week, but that would be a very interesting video for sure. So hopefully.
Hey, Trevin, when you say stuff like that, can you please post it instead of just saying, "Did you see it?" We're trying to we don't really have time to look at Twitter right now.
Yeah. If you can send me a link, that would be easy, but I can't scroll through, I'm trying to keep up with chat and stuff. But if you send a link, I'd appreciate it for sure. Oh, pineapple pizza for not pineapple pizza. that could be a Pulse question too. Does pineapple belong on pizza? I like pineapple on pizza, man. I don't understand why people trip out about that.
Well, I don't really like pineapple on pizza, but I don't think it should be banned or anything.
I don't understand why people
pineapple on your pizza, fine. I don't
understand why people are so adamant about that. It's the same people that don't think ketchup belongs with scrambled eggs. You know what I mean? I like pineapple on my pizza. I love my scrambled eggs doused with ketchup. So
yeah, okay. Whatever.
You don't like ketchup with scrambled eggs, bro?
Not really. No.
They complement each other very
maybe
well.
When I was 7.
Well, okay, scrambled eggs can end up being kind of dry. You know what I mean? It ends up making it a little bit moister, which makes it a little bit better. And then you combine that ketchup-y flavor with the scrambled eggs flavor, and you get a pretty good combination, in my opinion. We're back to our weekly segment where we're talking about food on a post-game show. For some reason, this always turns to food, one way or another. Sriracha is OP with scrambled eggs. I don't like my scrambled eggs spicy, but I could see why people would like that.
See, I usually don't make mine very dry. I have ways to make it kind of juicy, but I also like having toast or something and kind of making a sandwich out of it.
The People's Mix what? I'm just gonna scroll. I can't scroll past because it's the bottom. But yeah, I'm just gonna ignore whatever the hell we're talking about here. Is it NBA players getting stuff leaked this week? Is every NBA player getting their iCloud hacked or something? Did they really? Eric's about to search that up super fast. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I was busy typing Hassan dudes. So what were you saying? No, just kidding.
So was I, dude. What? I already got the Steph Curry picture ready to go. I'm never mind. I'm done, bro. Hell no. Why right now? Right after he balls out, he's gonna have his stuff leaked? Excuse me? I mean, we've already been through it with Greg Oden, so at least Hassan Whiteside is gonna dominate and then have his stuff leaked instead of like be injured and I don't even know.
But if it's not a good leak like Odin's was, then
What do you mean a good leak?
I don't know. Like if he's not packing,
Oh my goodness!
it might not be good.
Bro. um, um, yeah. I mean, yeah. No, I don't even know how
Just
to
hope that
respond
doesn't
to
ruin
that.
his confidence right now.
Oh, I get
he's
what you're
playing
saying.
great.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Yeah. Okay. Hopefully he's like
Hopefully
proud of it, and then keeps balling
it's not
out.
like a big self-esteem issue.
Got you. Okay, I get where you're going with that. For a second, I had no idea where you're going with that. Wow, what is this post game? Oh my goodness.
I blame Trevin, man.
Somebody tweeted on Twitter, someone stole Hassan Whiteside's trash cans and he turned into the greatest center in franchise history. I don't even see anything about Hassan having anything leaked, so yeah, no, I don't. He might be making it up, man. He might be trolling us. I'm not sure. I can't allow. Don't post any link to anything like that in the YouTube chat. If it's real,
yeah.
Don't post a link to it because I feel like I could get into trouble for that. And honestly, it would probably hold your message for review. If I see any links, I'm just gonna hide them because I don't want to risk that. Look up the. I don't even. We got horses in the. I don't. What is chat on right now, man? Have we reached that time? Like, okay, yeah, we're an hour in. We've reached the time where this post game show turns into Lord knows what. Oh my goodness.
See what happens when Trevin's not working.
I know. He just sent the stream into a tailspin. I like Bob Gnarly Games. I'll show that comment. Oh my goodness.
Eggs and junk.
It's a Saturday night, so I think chat's drunk. Oh, that's why they call him the horse. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, dude. I can't with this. Only on this post game show will you get discussion about why they actually call Hassan Whiteside the horse.
Oh man.
Anyway, what were we talking about? I feel like it's too. I feel like we're too off topic to even say what were we talking about because before that was.
So Whiteside had a great game today.
Oh my goodness. Oh yeah, we were talking about. Think of a team that might want Hassan Whiteside. Yeah. Be a trade. Wait, my goodness. God. Whenever I see the People's Mix have a comment that says WTF pause, I don't scroll up.
Yeah.
Because it's always...
He says that way too much.
Yeah. Because he always says something like suspect and then WTF pause.
Trevor says he was talking about Whiteside news. He was talking about people saying keep Whiteside on Twitter or something. That's funny.
Wait, I thought he was the one who said Whiteside's news got leaked or something like that.
No, that was the People's Mix, man.
Oh, I
should have known. Of course, it was the People's Mix.
I thought it was Trevin or something. Okay, I didn't see the People's Mix say it before that. Since it was Trevin, I actually believed it. Since if I knew it was the People's Mix, I would have known that was fake. I would have known that was fake because that dude's our favorite troll. Oh, just for getting us 300-second ban. I'll see you in 5 minutes, you asshole. I don't want him to sit here and gloat and getting us like that, so 300-second ban. Oh my goodness.
Or Trevin's just trying to act all innocent.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't even know what's happening anymore. Chat, help us. We got 73 people in here. Somebody had to see how that started.
Hey man, you were just talking about how you wanted to get back into chat, right? This is
Yeah,
what happens.
yeah. I regret that now. I wanted, to engage and connect with my community. And then, oh my goodness,
So Scal hit a three tonight. That was good.
doesn't shoot enough of them. He also airballed a three, but his contested at shot clock buzzer. Scow was lit. Yeah, Scow was super lit. I heard he had pictures leaked.
I like the Twin Towers too.
It's a fun
I like
item,
playing
man. I
Scal.
mean, when we don't have Mello, like play more Scow with Tassan. I like that Stotts did that. Chocolate almonds sound fire. I got chocolate and almonds. I got trail mix right here. All right, chat. What do you want to talk about? It's risky asking you guys what you want to talk about, but
Should we go around the NBA?
oh yeah. Around the NBA in the future. Anyway, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We had 9 games tonight. Trailblazers beat the Timberwolves 113-106. Jazz beat the Hornets 114-107. Wish the Hornets could have taken care of that one, but Utah took care of business. They were led by Bojan. Is it Bojan or Bojan? Bojan? It's Bojan, right? Bojan Bogdanovic. Why am I asking you for pronunciations? You call OG Anunion boy or whatever. Why would I ask you for pronunciation?
Oh, great.
Oh my
Good
goodness.
thing we moved on in our chat because my daughter is now in the chat room. So glad we're not talking about what we were just talking about.
Don't get on Eric's bad side. All right, chat. Keep it PG.
It's all good.
Keep it. And a new boy. Those guys who watch that know what I'm talking about. Yeah, and a new boy.
And a new boy.
And a new boy. He's yeah. Anyway, around the NBA.
He's the OG.
Here we go. We got Bogdanovic leading the Jazz to a 114-107 win. Bogdanovic had 26 points. He was 4 for 9 from three-point land. Donovan Mitchell had 20 for the Jazz. That's kind of like the poor man's Dame and CJ lineup. Or the Dame and CJ backcourt. Terry Rozier and Devontae Graham. Eric muted himself. Who knows what's going on with that. But let's move on to the next game. We had the Nets beating the Hawks 122-112. The Nets were led by Garrett Temple. No, they were led by Spencer Dinwiddie, dropping 39 points, 6 assists, 6 rebounds. That dude's making a case for the All-Star team. Garrett Temple had 25 for the Nets, and then you had DeAndre Jordan with 12. Even though he dropped 47, he had 19 free throw attempts, made 16 of them. So he got the Harden treatment tonight. Alex Len. My stream's been lagging. I just realized that, bro.
Yeah. I was trying to listen. I muted myself, so...
So you what? You muted yourself, why? We're back. We're not lagging no more, so...
Because I had to do something, but I wanted to listen to what you were saying still, but I didn't want you to hear the echo.
Got you.
So I muted myself so you wouldn't, and then the stream stopped on its own. So trying to listen. I muted myself. There you go.
Well, now I'm hearing you. Alrighty.
There you go.
On
Stream is dying back.
No, nobody in chat is probably gonna care about this, but Simon's draft, and then he wanted to come over, and Philadelphia didn't want him to come over. Philadelphia was the team that drafted him, so he ended up getting released. And I just saw him in the box score with he had 11 points for the Wizards tonight. That just kind of shocked me. They had Garrison Matthews playing 7 minutes. Yeah, they have some no-name guys off the bench. That's interesting. Hopefully the stream can chill out. If the lag gets worse, we might have to sign off. Hopefully, just hang tight with us. It has these hiccups here and there with the internet, but sometimes it resolves itself. Sometimes it just completely bombs out. Anyway.
Yeah. See what I knew. The Sixers, like either released his rights or traded his rights or something, and then he became a free agent.
Mm-hmm.
But I forgot about it. And then when he signed with the Wizards the other day, I was like, dang it, why didn't we sign him?
Oh,
Like
I
he'd
know.
be a good prospect. Yeah,
I know. Yeah, he was a first round
but
pick. Like, he's talented, and then he drops 11 in 22 minutes on 4 for 6 shooting for the Wizards in like maybe his first NBA game. Uh, but I don't know. I would have loved to have signed him, especially since we need another 7-footer. We need another backup big. Too. I got the wireless charger. Let's see if it dies.
before anyone says anything inappropriate, my daughter is 16, so please be careful.
Yeah, don't get banned from chat. Anyway.
No one cares. Hey, Maddie, there are some people around your age in here, so
Yeah, they're all very, very interesting. Let's just say that. Anyway, I'm going back to my Around the NBA segment. I'm just going to completely lock in on this and not focus on chat right now. Zach LaVine led the Bulls to a 119-107 win over the Detroit Pistons. Zach LaVine had 33 points in that game. Kobe White with 19 off the bench. Detroit drops another game. They didn't have Blake Griffin for this game. They were led by Markieff Morris, who had 23, but they still couldn't get it done. They were at home against the Bulls. The Bulls now have a better record than the Detroit Pistons. The Detroit Pistons are 11-19. I feel like they're going to trade Blake this year, man. I'm still on board with that. With the way Blake Griffin's played this year and been hurt, I feel like his value is a lot lower than it was. I feel like you can maybe get him for a first-round pick in a couple of seconds. And maybe Gary Trent Jr. What do you think?
who was that?
Blake Griffin.
Blake Griffin. Yeah, I'm starting to sour on Griffin a little bit.
I
But
mean,
yeah,
like,
I
I'm
think
not
he's
as high on
definitely
him
available.
as he was because he's been hurt, and when he's played, he hasn't played that well. But I feel like he could still easily get back to the Blake Griffin he was last year if he just got healthy at the right time. But honestly, that tanks his value. I'm still as interested in him because I feel like his value is lower now. And him being out is helping the Detroit Pistons get off to a really bad start right now, which increases the likelihood he gets traded. His value is lower. So, I mean, like, I don't know. If you could somehow find a first and expirings for Whiteside, you could maybe get Blake Griffin without giving up an extra first. Like, maybe you could get Blake Griffin for, like, the first you get from Whiteside, expiring contracts, a couple seconds, and Gary Trent Jr. I don't know. I mean, like, probably would take a little bit more from Blake Griffin, but not much more. You know what I mean? Like, so we could honestly get Blake Griffin and go out and maybe get an Otto Porter Jr. Type. If we trade, like, Bazemore and filler salary, or maybe a Robert Covington, Gorgie Jang. I don't know. Like, I'm still on board for Blake Griffin because I still feel like his upside would raise the ceiling of our team the most, more than any other trade. Like, if he is able to get back to how he was last year, we would be better with him than pretty much any other target that we could pursue. And it might not take that much to get him. So I'm on board with Blake Griffin still. It's just interesting. I like seeing the Pistons lose because that makes it an option. And even like Derrick Rose would be a good option at this point. He's on a good contract the next couple of years. And Anthony struggled, so I'm on board with Derrick Rose as a possibility as well.
I'm almost done editing that trade video. But yeah, I do talk about a scenario in which the Charlotte Hornets trade for Andre Drummond, and we sneak in a third team on that.
Yeah. I mean, that it'll be interesting. Detroit could make a ton of moves. Andre Drummond, Derrick Rose, Blake Griffin. They could be the number one team to watch for at the trade deadline. So the fact that they're losing makes it even more interesting. How long is that video going to be, by the way? How long do you think that's going to end up being?
I don't know. I'm cutting a lot out, so.
That's good. Because Eric put down an hour recording. I'm interested to see this final product. I'm looking forward to it. I know the fan base will be interested to see you do a video as well. So anyway, moving on to the rest of the action tonight. Milwaukee beat the Knicks by 21. Giannis had 22 on 10 shots. He had 22 points, 11 rebounds, 10 assists in only 26 minutes. So right now, we're gaining ground on them. Memphis was led by... they weren't really led by anybody. They had 7 players in double figures. Their leading scorer was Jaren Jackson Jr. with 18. The Kings had 25 from Harrison Barnes, 22 from De'Aaron Fox in a losing effort. They only played 8 guys, so I wonder if those guys were injured, but it says DNP coach's decision, so I'm wondering if they're tightening up the rotation, trying to find something that works, because they've definitely been struggling. Clippers blew out the Spurs 134-109. That was in San Antonio as well. The Spurs fall to 11-17. The Clippers now are 22-9, starting to pick things up. They had 26 from Kawhi, only 11 from Paul George in 26 minutes, but they still dominated the Spurs. So they didn't really get much from Paul George, but they had 15 from Maurice Harkless on 6 for 8 shooting, 2 for 3 from the 3-point line. One of those Mo Harkless games. Zubac was 7 for 7 for 15 points. They had 21 off the bench for Harrell, 20 off the bench from Lou Williams. So that's just a scary, scary team. I still think that's the best team in the West. I still think they're better than the Lakers. Last game from tonight, we had the Rockets beating the Phoenix Suns 139-125. James Harden had 47 points. He only shot 9 free throws to get those 47 points. He was 15 for 27 from the field, 9 for 19 from three-point land. Clint Capella had 14 and 17. Russell Westbrook had 30, 10, and 4. For the Suns, they do have Devin Booker back now. They do have... DeAndre Ayton didn't play, but he's off of his suspension, so I'm wondering if he got hurt. Do you know anything about that, Eric?
Yeah, I think he did get hurt in his first game back.
Do you know how they play in Portland against us? I'm wondering if DeAndre Ayton is out for that game, which would be a boost for the Blazers. But Kelly Oubre had 26 for the Suns. He's been terrific this year. Elie Okobo had 17. He was in the starting lineup, 6 for 10 shooting. That was a draft crush of mine a couple years ago. I think Eric liked him as well. So he's had some decent performances. I would like to see him in a different position where he could get more of a chance. Devin Booker only had 19 on 6 for 16 shooting, so he's still a little bit rusty after coming back from injury. But he had 9 assists as well. Ty Jerome, the rookie, who hasn't really played at all for them this year, had 15 off the bench on 6 for 8 shooting. And that is what happened in the NBA today. Tomorrow...
So DeAndre Ayton sprained his ankle.
Okay.
So
he
was out tonight. He's listed as day today, so I don't know.
And that game against them is 9 days from now, so I'm assuming that he'll be back for then if it's just a sprained ankle. Yeah. But that's a game we should win anyway against a team that's worse than us at home at the end of the year.
2 questions from Chad I want to get to. Zacho is asking, do you think Toronto values Whiteside? I think they possibly could if Gasol gets hurt or well, he is hurt right now, but I mean if he's like out longer. But overall, I don't think they would want to even swap Gasol for Whiteside. I think they'd much rather go with Whiteside and Ibaka and those guys that won him a championship last year versus a guy like Whiteside, unless that's a team though, like if like you were saying earlier, if they had injuries or something,
and
they
that's
were
a perfect example of that. If you look at like the Pacers and Miles Turner gets hurt, then they could be looking at us on Whiteside. If you look at the Raptors and Marc Gasol gets hurt for the year, or Serge Ibaka gets hurt for the year, then maybe they're looking at Whiteside. More so if it's Gasol, because Gasol's more of a center, but Ibaka's more of a 4/5. But yeah, there's a number of teams like that where if they end up with their starting center being hurt, they could be looking for a replacement to make a playoff run with. Honestly, maybe the Clippers, but they would have to trade too many role players to get that. Like he'd be an upgrade over Zubac, and then you could still bring Harrell off the bench. But that, I don't know, that's kind of pointless.
They don't have the contracts to get there. That's kind of like the Pistons or the Celtics.
Yeah. So it's hard to find a destination, but maybe something opens up. I'm not hoping somebody gets injured. I'm just hoping that if somebody does get injured, a starting center somewhere does get injured, that helps us get more value for Whiteside. Because I think that's what it's going to take.
I forgot who said it, but someone, I think it was WTF Main. He was saying Drummond's just like Whiteside, but Drummond's 4 years younger, so that's why he'd make more sense for a team like Charlotte versus Whiteside, who's already past his prime.
And he's better, so I mean he's going to be
not past his prime, but you know what I mean.
And Drummond's still a little bit better than Whiteside, so he's going to be the top center target. You're looking at, that's the thing. If there's an injury, a team could easily go trade for for Hassan or for Andre Drummond. You know what I mean? So even if something does open up, if the Raptors lose Marc Gasol, then they could maybe go make a move for Andre Drummond. So I think Hassan Whiteside would be a team's backup plan. It's just gonna be tough to find value for him, but you never know. It'll be interesting just to see how this trade market plays out. Anyway, I think we're good for tonight. Had a good stream. We're at about an hour and a half, which is a good stream. I don't know if there's anything chat wants us to talk about. You guys can ask us a question or something, and we'll respond to your questions for a little bit, and then we'll sign off here and catch you guys on Monday.
Love you too, People's Mix. He's going to say something inappropriate now, and then WTF pause.
Yep, I'm ready for it. What's up with Ant's slump? I talk about it in the mailbag that I'll drop tomorrow. Yeah, with the heart, with the water. Okay, yep. WTF pause. Yep, there it is. And that it's time for us. Time for us to go.
He's asking what I think about Ant. I think he just needs to take his lumps. He needs to regain his confidence, but he's not going to do that if we strip him from his role right now and bench him. So I'd rather him make these mistakes and learn how to play while on the court. And as long as we're winning, I guess it doesn't really matter if he's struggling, right? But yeah, hopefully it's just a slump, and then he figures it out and plays a little more like he was towards the beginning of the year. And it can click for him at any moment. He just needs to get his confidence back.
For sure. So I think that's it for us. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at ToryJonesYT for me, at HoopsJock for Eric, at Blazers Uprise for the channel page, because that's when we tweet out when we go live now. Usually I try and retweet it on my personal account as well. But that's how you guys can know right when we go live. That's how you guys can be ready. Another way you guys can know is to hit that notification bell below this video, and when we go live, YouTube should send you a notification right when the stream goes live. Sometimes their system messes up and doesn't send out a notification, so that's why I also tweeted out. You can set notifications for at Blazers Uprise. Since I don't tweet much from there, it's usually just channel update stuff, so that way you'll get the notification right when we go live. You guys can be here at the start of the stream. That's for podcasts, and that's for post-game shows, and then when we drop a video, we'll also send you a notification. And we'll be dropping a couple of videos here in the future because we've been super light on videos, but we're going to ramp it back up. So hopefully you guys enjoy that. Eric's going to have his trade talk video out soon. Looking forward to seeing what he has for us in that regard.
Maybe even tomorrow.
Tomorrow would be perfect because we had a back-to-back the last couple of days. Tomorrow I'm going to be dropping my mailbag. I'm probably going to be dropping that Chad doing reaction video that I've wanted to make. And then Peeps and Plaid podcast, they have like a 2030 preview or something, like some of the changes we might see in the NBA by 2030. So that's kind of like a cool concept for a podcast. And that'll be dropping tomorrow. So that could be 4 videos dropping tomorrow. That could be 4 videos. So that would be fun. Just to get you guys some content on the off day on a Sunday. Before we have that game on Monday. And then, of course, after Monday, probably take a couple days off. We're not going to have a Wednesday podcast because Wednesday's Christmas. There's no game on Wednesday or anything like that. So we'll get you guys some videos out tomorrow. We'll have our podcast and our post-game stream on Monday. Then we won't see you guys until Thursday after that Utah Jazz game. What is it with us playing the Jazz around Christmas all the time? I just realized that. Because we played them on Christmas last year, and we played them like 4 days before Christmas last year, and this year it's like we got them the day after Christmas.
Yeah.
That's strange. But, yeah, so that's kind of the plan for things. I hope you guys have a good Christmas. Hope you guys have gotten your shopping done. For those of you who need to do some Christmas shopping still, I still need to do some Christmas shopping. So maybe maybe I'll take some time out tomorrow to do that. Because I'm always late on it, man. I always procrastinate the Christmas shopping. So I gotta get on that.
I went and wrapped all my kids' presents tonight, so I'm good there. I still have to
Yeah,
get
you're
a
probably
couple
the
presents
type
for other
who.
people, but
Yeah, you're probably the type who wraps them in newspaper, huh?
no, not newspaper.
Even though he owns a party store.
If I was on video, I'd show you all these presents,
Yeah.
but
Are you like
whatever.
a expert gift raptor? Gift
No,
rapper?
I suck at rapping, but
Yeah, so do I. It's
yeah.
rough. I like to get the bags and just put it in it and then just stuff all the paper in it. Good to go. All right, toss it. So I don't think I'm ever gonna have to drop that rap song, to be honest. Um, I don't think um, that's not good, hun. You got to be nice to mom and dad, or at least try. I have no idea what's going on with this.
She's he's talking to my
I hear her
daughter.
laughing. I hear her laughing. Is she trolling you?
She's yeah.
I don't even know what's happening anymore. I just hear her cackling at you. I haven't even been reading chat. Let me read it one last time before I sign off. My goodness. I gotta see what she's laughing about.
That just sucked. Someone showed my pictures.
Oh my
Bob Gnarly needs to know where you got your hat, man. It's an Adidas hat, so I'm
I've
assuming it's
had
not
it for a
available anymore.
while. Yeah, I've had it for. It was one of the draft caps from a draft years ago. Because they had like the logos of teams on the bottom. This hat's a classic though.
How much will you sell it to Bob for?
How much? Why? What?
Sell it to Bob for.
Hey, I'll auction off my hat. I'll auction it off. I'll sell it for like 100 or so. I love this hat. I have an emotional attachment to this hat, but if you really want it. Oh, you're poor. Dang. If you really want it, just gotta drop 100. I'll sell it. I'll sell my hat for 100. I'm not even kidding. If one of you guys really wants it, I need to get more hats, man. But I mean, I don't know. I don't think there's been a stream where I haven't worn this hat. We hit 75 watching, I think. What do you mean? My screen has the buffering thing right on Tori's face while the video is still playing. Yeah, I don't know. It has it for me too on my phone. I don't know why that's been a thing. Oh, are you talking about viewers at once? Yeah, we got close to 100. Right after Melo signed, we were getting like 130, 140, but it's down to like 90, 95, which is to be expected. People were tuning in because of Melo stuff, but the Melo hype has kind of died down. So, anyway, hit that like button, which I don't even plug because it's not a big deal to me. But yeah, you guys can show your support by hitting that like button. And other than that, I think this outro is done. I think we're gonna sign off here.
Maddie, like our video.
Yeah, she better like our video. Keep it going, guys, for the love. Thanks, Bob Gnarly. Thanks to the People's Mix, I think. Because all the WTF pause moments, those could be a little rattling at times, but thank you for your support, man. WTF Main as always, and Trevin, who's been able to hang out with us all week.
Trevin corrected me that he's off school, not work right now. Sorry, Trevin. My bad.
Yeah, come on, man. This man ain't working. He's just schooling. I think, bro. Anyway, let's wrap this up. We'll catch you guys on Monday. Stay tuned for videos tomorrow. On those videos, make sure you hit that like button as well. I might have a surprise for you guys. I don't know. I might have a video that I haven't said. It just depends on how productive I feel like being tonight. So, anyway, we'll catch you guys later. This has been the Uprise Post-Game Show. Coming at you live from my basement, my room. As always, we'll catch you guys next time. Peace out. Go Blazers.